Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, guys, what's good? So today we're gonna dive into the Indiana Fever free agency. All the picks, all the trades, everything they have done to bolster this roster going into the 2025 season. Now, we all know that the Indiana Fever are looking to revamp the whole roster. They're looking to bring in pieces that would help Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. Now, the first priority was re-signing Kelsey Mitchell. That was the first and number one rule that they wanted to do. They wanted to make sure they locked down Kelsey Mitchell at all costs. Make sure that Kelsey Mitchell is going to be an Indiana Fever for life. Then on top of that, they went out and made a trade. Well, they didn't make a trade. They signed Natasha Howard, who was a free agent for the Dallas Wings. Now, I already went over her statistical stats that she was averaging 17 points a game with Dallas and almost 7 rebounds a game last season. Now, her other partner, Saltu Sabli, went on to a rival, then potentially now she's with the Phoenix Mercury. But Natasha Howard was drafted by the Indiana Fever. She played with Stephanie White. So there you have continuity, familiarity to help, make this transition even smoother. We already know that Stephanie White brought former coaches, Keith Porter, developmental coach as well from Connecticut to the Indiana Fever. Then you had everybody from the top. Kelly came. She was with the Indiana Fever back in the day when Stephanie White was a head coach there, and she won a title with them as well as assistant coach. Then she went off to Indiana, helped that franchise out. Now she came back over here. Then they moved Lynn Dunn out the way, put her as an advisor, keep her out of the way. And then they went on to fire Christy Sides after landing Stephanie White as a head coach. Now, the Indiana Fever number one rule was they wanted to make this team faster, but they want to have defense. They want to stretch the floor, have a lot of other defensive parts. Now, this is currently now the Indiana Fever after all the pieces that they have made so far. You look at Grace Berger, which I'm going to touch on that real quick. After the signing of DeWanna Bonner today, the Indiana Fever went on to release Grace Berger. Now, a lot of people thought that Grace Berger was going to get a turn. You thought Grace Berger was going to be able to be that backup point guard role behind Caitlin Clark. But that's not the case. Grace Berger is going her own step away. She might land in Connecticut. She might land with the Valkyries. Who knows? She might just stay overseas and play for a whole year. We don't know. So if you look at the roster now, you still have an empty spot. So you have Leah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Damaris Dantes, Lexi Hall, Katie Lou Samuelson, Victoria Saxon, Natasha Howard, Christy Wallace, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and DeWanna Bonner. Now, as I'm continuing to look at this roster, I do believe that 2 more people could be gone. Now, a lot of us thought that Tina Charles was going to come in and fill that backup role behind Leah Boston, but Tina Charles is actually on her way to Connecticut, where she started her career. So, just like Natasha Howard started her career off with the Fever, she started her career off with the Connecticut Sun. A lot of us thought that DeWanna Bonner was going to go to Phoenix because of her relationship with Alyssa Thomas, but that wasn't the case either. A lot of people was advocating about they excuse me, advocating about the Indiana Fever. Um, Nobody didn't want to play for them. They was going to get in the free agencies and all of that stuff like that. So, um, but looking at this roster, I still believe there are a couple more moves they might make. Now, I think they gonna find. Me personally, I don't. Just hypothetical talk. I believe that they could find a way to move that 180 um, salary cap of salary of Katie Lou Samuelson. They could find a trade partner. They could trade her to the Valkyries for a draft pick. Um, Now, some people say, well, they can't move her because there's a cap hit. There's only a cap hit if the team that she's traded them to does not pick up the salary. If they pick up Katie Lou's salary for going into the season, then that money is off the Indiana Fever books. Then that will free up Indiana Fever for any money that will be owed or taking any cap hit. And most likely a team that signs her can't be over the cap anyway. So that were it makes sense for a team to have enough cap space to bring her in, and the Fever would not be having a cap hit. And if that's the case, then that would help pretty much Katie Lou situation to move on. Then you would have probably two spots to fill. Most likely, I say most likely because they got three picks. They got two draftees that they pretty much gonna draft to fill that spot. I do believe Victoria Saxton could be gone. I do believe with Grace Berger going, that's one spot left. I think Katie Lou between Christian Wallace is another interesting piece too. She could be gone. Victoria Saxton could be gone. So we looking at. I don't think Damaris Johnson is going anywhere. I thought early today when I was thinking about this, I thought she's not safe. To be honest with you, I don't think Christy Wallace, Katie Lou Samuelson, Victoria Saxton, or Damaris Johnson is safe. I don't think they're safe. Out of the four, I think the Damaris is 50-50. She could not be safe, but then 50% she is safe. So she's the wild card in there because she has been balling overseas this year. We haven't seen Victoria Saxton because um, Athletes Unlimited starts this week coming up. So we'll get to see what she looks like. But I don't think Lexi Hall is going anywhere. There was talk about Lexi Hall being in the draft, and I mean not being in the draft, being in a trade situation with Katie Lou Samuelson, and I don't see that happening at all. But again, now as I continue to dive into this a little bit more, because this roster still needs a little bit more. We need a backup point guard because if we ain't trusting Christy Wallace, like I said, the Indiana Fever not done. They still making moves. They still got pieces. Oh, this is what I meant to say. With the release of Grace Berger, they now have you can plug in that spot Jalen Brown, and she played with the Dallas Wings. She's a guard / forward, 6'1", I believe, has great potential. She has been injured, but have played overseas. Almost quit basketball and ended up coming back. And she's 26 years old, so she's young too. And to me, I feel like she could be a great asset. Now, if you got Christy Wallace on your roster right now, and you put Jalen Brown in Grace Berger's spot, okay, so you look at it like this. If you look at the lineup like this, say you go with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Leah Boston. Dantas came in to spare Leah Boston through some games. So say you have a relief person, you have Dantas for Boston, you could have Lexi Hall come in for DeWanna Bonner. You could have Sophie Cunningham come in for Natasha Howard. You could have Jalen Brown come in for Kelsey Mitchell, and then you can have Christy Wallace come in for Caitlin Clark. So that is your rotation right there. Now, will it work out that way? No, because you're going to rotate according to the flow of the game. So you could, because you don't want to, you're not going to relieve all of them at the same time. You're going to relieve some here, have this person coming for this person, get them minutes cut. You might have Caitlin on the floor playing with Sophia. You might have Caitlin on the floor with a Damaris. You might have different movements, pieces going around to where everybody could get a break. You know what I'm saying? Now, because I don't think DeWanna Bonner is coming over there for a 1-year deal just to sit on the bench. That's not going to happen. She's going to be a starter. Natasha Howard is going to be a starter. You're going to have Lexi Hall and pretty much Sophie Cunningham coming off the bench, backing them two up. And I think Janelle, for what Jalen Brown did in preseason last year against the Fever for the highlights that I see, you could have her coming for Kelsey Mitchell because you got to think about it. She could shoot the three. She might is not as efficient as Kelsey Mitchell shooting the three, but she can shoot the three. She definitely can get to the basket, drive, pull up, mid-range, everything. So you would not have a drop-off in bucket-wise or scoring-wise. And another thing about it is the Indiana Fever had depth. They really have depth on this roster right now, something that they didn't have last year because when they got into the playoff against Connecticut, they didn't have enough depth. Connecticut had a lot of depth because they were throwing Ty Harris out there. They were throwing Marina Mabry out there. They had a lot of bodies to throw out there, and the Fever didn't have enough, and you couldn't really rest Caitlin Clark because she played almost the whole game. Same thing with Kelsey Mitchell, and then when Caitlin and Mitchell was off, the unit had no other scoring. And the number one thing that I continue to have said constantly since last year to this year, the Fever needed a bench. The Washington Mystics was the highest scoring bench team in the W last year. They were scoring like 32, 34 points. So I feel like this depth of scorers, if you think about it, you got almost 20 point scorers. You have Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell. You got DeWanna Bonner was averaging 15 points a game last year. She could get hot from three. Now, people say that she's not a three-point shooter. Then you have not paid attention to DeWanna Bonner last year in games. She can shoot from the three. She's a really stretch four, and she's very lengthy, great defense. I mean, you think about it. She had to guard Caitlin Clark in the playoff game, and where Caitlin Clark struggled against her. And if you don't believe me, take a listen to this.
You've been asked to do something today that you haven't done all season. Guard Caitlin Clark. She's 0 for 3 when you're defending her. How have you made your presence felt there?
Well, let me knock on some wood real quick. She's a great player. I know she's going to come out second half ready to go, so I got a key in.
Right into there, DeWanna Bonner is very rangy and lengthy, and she gave Caitlin Clark a lot of trouble in that playoff game because Caitlin Clark did struggle against her and everything like that. And like DeWanna Bonner said, she had to knock on wood because that was a tough assignment. And if DeWanna Bonner could replicate that next year to whoever she guards, it's going to cause problems for anybody that's going to. Now, if you look at what Natasha Howard brings to the table as well, 17 points, almost 18 points a game. That's almost 20 points. So now Caitlin could score 25 points while I have to break a sweat. Kelsey Mitchell could score between 20-something points. You know, her and Kelsey probably will be the highest scorer on the team. Leo Boston probably be around there a little bit. It's probably going to be games where if Mitchell's off, Natasha Howard probably pick up the scoring. Sophie Cunningham off the bench. Lexi Hall off the bench. Jalen Brown off the bench. Damaris Dawson's off the bench. You probably going to if your bench could score at least 20 points a game, 20, 25 points a game, you winning games easily. You winning 95% of your games easily and everything like that. And this is why I think the Indiana Fever, by putting this roster together, they're not waiting for next year because they know that they still have all these players on 1-year deals, but they can still revamp this roster up again next year. And if they go all the way and win the title in 2025, guess what's going to happen? Those same players that's there might want to stay another year, sign on another year or two. Then you add some more talented pieces. Guess what? You think about this. Katie Lou Samuelson contract comes off the books next year. She most likely be gone. Damaris Johnson's contract comes off the book next year. She's gone. That's 2 open spots, along with your draftees. Even if they cut Victoria Saxon or whatever the case may be, then you look at it like this: you draft, you add pieces, or free agent, you add two more pieces to the puzzle. You know what I'm saying? If DeWanna Bonner wins a title and she said, "Well, I want to retire after that," then that's another spot you're filling. Natasha Howard, she probably will stay another year or two with the team because, hey, she won a title. She might decide that she want to retire after that. Then the Fever have to go shopping looking again. You never know with these kind of situations, but the Indiana Fever has a plan. Now, I just feel like at the end of the day that this is the best move that's possible. Now, people, like I said, people was talking and saying about Jaylen Brown, not knowing a lot about Jaylen Brown. I have not know a lot about her, but I had to go and do some research and watch some video footage and see what kind of game she got. So if y'all have not seen her and know how she play, hey, don't worry. Live Rock Sports, I got you. Check it out.
Because of the amount of minutes they have had to play and how hard they play.
Yep.
Oh, she broke some hearts in the Final Four.
Sure did. Into the high post. Pretty shot from Brown, the lefty and Cal grad, undrafted to Dallas. Kate Martin has checked back in for the Aces, and then a takeaway by Brown. 4th turnover for the Aces, and they make them pay. They get something out of it. Back-to-back hoop.
Basketball.
She got that quick release. She's got 10 points, and so can Brown. Jaylen Brown's been looking good in this one. Brown straight through. I mean, nothing but net on that one for Jaylen Brown.
Well, this game's not over.
Nope, far from it.
Because of this lady right here. Jaylen Brown can shoot it, man.
Boy, and that one.
All right, so therefore you see what Jaylen Brown could do on the offensive end. And like I said, she's probably in a great position because she still has that relationship with Natasha Howard. You know what I'm saying? So that is pretty good. She's going to have, you know, a familiar partner from the days in Dallas there. And she definitely could play. And like I said, she could be Kelsey Mitchell's backup player. You don't have to go out and look for another person to back up Kelsey Mitchell. You already have it in that person right there with Jaylen Brown because she could shoot the 3, she could get to the basket, and she has a really great mid-range, stop and go mid-range. So therefore, at the end of the day, you have to really give kudos to this front office for making all of these right moves because each one of these right moves complement each other in some form or fashion, in some way. Because the thing about it is that you can't blitz Caitlin Clark no more. You're not going to be able to blitz Caitlin Clark. And you got rim runners. Everybody on this team can run to the rim. Fast breaks. So the pace is going to be electric. The defense is going to be stifling. I do believe that the Indiana Fever defense is going to be top 6, top 10, the most, close to top 5. Offense going to be top 3. To be honest, I think their offense is going to be top number 1 in the league because of the pace. Caitlin Clark's run with so much pace and gravity. You got to think about it. She's going to make everybody on that team so much better like she did last year. And she didn't even have the pieces that she have now. DeWanna Bonner, she ain't going to have to work hard on the offensive end like she did in Connecticut. Natasha Howard, she's not going to be able to work hard on the offensive end like she did in Dallas. Kelsey and Aaliyah already know what life is to be easy for playing with Caitlin Clark. Even Lexi, Sophie Cunningham, she's gonna come in there and play freely, gritty, be on the wing. Caitlin's giving her the ball. She's knocking down threes. Something that we wasn't able to consistently do last year because we didn't have no 3-point shooters. The only one that emerged out of there was Katie Lou. But then when she got cold, that was it. Katie Lou, not Katie Lou, but Lexi Hall. And then Katie Lou, she got cold. Whereas at the point she didn't hardly play much in the second half of the season. Then you got to look at when we had Melissa Smith, who is not good from the 3-point line, has all the tools, but she couldn't defend well, she couldn't shoot well, she was bad from the free throw line. So, they had to revamp this. They had to revamp this roster in any form of fashion because you had to bring in pieces that's going to make life easier for everybody, even AB, even Kelsey Mitchell. Everybody's going to take pressure off of everybody, especially Caitlin Clark. And especially when you run an offense, because the thing about it is, DeWanna Bonner could bring the ball up. Natasha Howard could bring the ball up. Kelsey could bring the ball up. And especially if you're trying to blitz Caitlin, that's not going to work because somebody's going to be open. Even Sophie Cunningham can bring the ball up the court. She has handles. So you got to think about that. And then with this lineup, you can go small. You can easily go small. Especially when you're playing teams that like to run, you could put a small group out there. Easy. I mean, you could at some point in the game, if you blowing out a team, you can run Kelsey, Sophia, DeWanna, Natasha on the floor. It's ways you could run that on the floor because you're able to get fast break points easily. I do believe that the Indiana Fever is going to break a lot of records with this team. It's going to be something special to see. I do remind you that there will be growing pains in the beginning until they catch up and get the fever. They get their footing right. They get the chemistry down pat. But I think once they get the chemistry down pat, it's going to be great. Now, there's still some speculation out there who else the Fever could be picking up, who else they could be looking at. I do believe this. Like I say, I do believe by the time the season start, I do believe Katie Lou won't be on this roster. I do believe Victoria Saxon won't be on this roster. I don't know about Christy Wallace. That's because Christy Wallace is not able to knock down shots from the outside, and she's not able to finish under the rim. She fumbles the ball a lot. I don't know if it was nervousness playing with Caitlin Clark last year or what, but she was fumbling all over the place. I do want to look at statistical stats real quick because there's a lot of things. Now, this is where DeWanna Bonner left. This is Connecticut. All starters is gone. Ty Harris gone. Brianna Jones gone. Alyssa Thomas gone. DJ Carrington just got traded to Dallas. So, I mean, you look at that, it's pretty substantial. And here we go right here. Then you look at it. Said the Fever lack of player experience last season, but they have addressed that in a big way by adding DeWanna Bonner, who averaged 15 points a game with Connecticut. Natasha Howard, 17 points, and Sophie Cunningham averaging almost 10 points a game with the Phoenix Mercury. And the thing about it is, Sophie Cunningham numbers will go up a little bit more because she's going to be able to hit outside shots. She's going to be able to do the things that she needs to do. Now, another thing that the Indiana Fever have gotten is toughness. They really have gotten toughness because DeWanna Bonner is pretty tough. She's a vet, wildly skilled vet, so she got toughness. Sophie got toughness. Not DeWanna, but Natasha Howard got toughness. And then the girl, Janelle Brown, she looked like she got toughness. So you got toughness on this team where this team lacks. I do want to see Lexi Hall get a little tougher. She's sweet, smiling and everything, but now she needs somebody like you you think about it, Sophie Cunningham will get her right of being tough. She's gonna be around some players that's, she's gonna have to be tougher. Katie Lou too, if she's gonna be on this team, she's gonna have to be tougher. All of that, I know a lot of people say Katie Lou looks good in our rival and she looks slender, she move around, it takes a while. And I don't know. I don't have faith in Katie Lou right now, just to be honest with you. I don't have faith in her. I don't think that she's going to be a valuable asset for the Indiana Fever, and that's why I do believe that the Indiana Fever is going to find a way to move her. And like I just addressed earlier, her contract, if a team picks up her and able to take her contract, the Indiana Fever will definitely be off the books of her contract. That will free up more cap space that they need. Because they had over 226 or 46,000, and probably Bonner probably took half of that, to sign a 1-year deal. I don't think you was going to give her all of that because you still need more room to bring in the players. And I do want to address something too, because I still think that another person that could be coming in for defensive purposes is Aerial Powers. Now, if you have not watched Aerial Powers play, then you should not be critiquing her game and saying that she's not good. Aerial Powers is good. She won a championship with Minnesota, so she has championship experience. Do the Fever need her? I don't know at this point now. I mean, they could use her. They could use her probably in a Victoria Saxon spot. But like I said, the Fever still have to have enough money for they draftees. They 19th and 20 picks, so they have to sign them to rookie contracts. So I don't know. But like I said, Aerial Powers would be pretty good for this team. She's a dog also. She's really gritty. She plays hard. She's scrappy. She's not a great three-point shooter, but she could hit from outside. I mean, if people have watched her play overseas this year, her game has evolved a little bit. She's able to score, hit from outside, play great defense. So I don't know. A lot of people, still talking about, Kennedy Carter. I will, at this point in time, with the way the Indiana Fever is moving, the way they are moving right now, the way they are moving, I don't think so. And honestly, I don't see them getting a Kennedy Carter. I don't see them getting her because the fact of the matter is, what would you need her for? You don't need her for anything, to be honest with you. Unless it's for coming off the bench for offense. She literally could get 30 points by herself off the bench. That's just how efficient she is. But you want somebody that's going to fit the Indiana culture. You want them to fit what they got going on. You don't want somebody that come in disruptive. And I just don't think that at the end of the day, she's going to be a good fit. It's a great story to grab hold to, but I would be surprised. But there were people say, hey, DeWanna Bonner would never sign with the Indiana Fever. So, hey, as my tattoos say on my arm, anything is possible. So I'm just telling you. So that because right in the day, if you land her, right now for the Indiana Fever, they are in championship title mode, and it's either title or bust. I don't think if they go all the way and don't win it, it could consider a failure. But I do believe that there's more pieces to this puzzle that we haven't seen yet, and I just think they are going to continue to navigate and make a couple more moves on this roster. And then I think then we safe to say, hey, they're gonna win it all. I did predict them winning it all last year before I even know what they was gonna do with the roster. So anyway, let me know what you think about everything that the Fever have picked up so far, what other moves that you think they could possibly make? Like I said, I still think a couple of people on this team might not be there, but we have to see, because tomorrow is Monday, and we definitely know the Fever. Oh, and by the way, it was nice that the front office was able to come to Caitlin Clark jersey retirement today. You had Stephanie White, Kelly, Amber in the house, and some other people, I guess, from the Fever organization. So that was something nice. I do have a video clip of that to put on, but I'm gonna compile it. I will not do no talking. It's just gonna be a celebration video. I'm gonna upload probably later tonight and everything like that. But until then, it was great to see this. You know, it was loud, and our Hawkeyes got the win over the USC Trojans for Caitlin Clark retiring. But like I say, let me know what you think about the Indiana Fever chances of landing more free agents, signing more people. Who is going to be on this roster when it's all said and done? When they finally, after the draft and all of that stuff like that, they probably have 2 roster spots available. They probably cut a couple more. They might waive Christy Wallace. They might waive Victoria Saxon. We don't know. They could be a possible trade. They get rid of Katie Lou. There's probably other pieces that they want to fit. They just going by the way to navigate how they're going to pull it off. But until the next episode, like, comment, subscribe. Live Wire Sports, and I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live Wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.